To me, social justice is a simple concept. It's a notion that all people in society deserve fair, equitable rights, opportunities, and access to resources. By it's become controversial and nebulous because we've stopped talking about what working for social justice actually looks like. Working for social justice can look like this or this. It, it, it can look like this or it can look like this or my favorite. It can look like that. Those are my students, and whenever I'm asked to articulate my work of my priorities as a teacher, I explain that I believe education can be a tool for social justice. But a few months ago, I logged onto Twitter as I do, and I saw that a fellow teacher has taken issue with that belief. Teachers, he said, should not be social justice warriors because the purpose of education is to educate. And he ended his argument by saying, I teach my subject, but I reject that simplification because teachers don't just teach subjects, we teach people. When our students into classrooms, they bring the identities with them. Everything they experience in our rooms is bound up in hierarchical justice. And so we've insisted that education happens in a vacuum. We do our students a disservice. We teach them education doesn't really matter because it's not relevant to what's happening all around them. And what's happening all around them? Well, according to results of association test, fully 88% of white people harbored subconscious against black people, believing them to be less intelligent, lazier, and more dangerous than whites. And that's just one concrete example of insidious effects of historic and systematic crime. For more evidence, we could look at incarceration rate. We could look at statistics of on police against black people. We could look at opportunity gap in education. So yeah, social justice belong in our schools. Social justice should be a part of a mission of every school and every teacher in America if we want liberty and justice for all to be more than slogan, because schools are crucial places for children to be active citizens and to learn the skills and tools they, they need to change the world. So what are those skills? Okay, here is secret. Many of the skills that people need to orchestrate The kinds of change that will lead to justice are already built into the work of schools. Things like problem solving, um, critical thinking, collaboration, perseverance. None of that should be revolutionary on its own. I combine that with ability to understand history not as one's static and objective narrative on which we all agree, but as a series of intertwined events about which there can be countless interpretation. If we deliberately choose to explore history with our students rather than just teach it, we help them understand that history is ongoing and that it's connected to current movement for justice, and we help them see themselves as potential players within a living history. So those are the skills I am talking about when I say that education can be a place to help kids learn how to work for justice. But maybe the reason that my Twitter critic wasn't happy with that idea is, is because he doesn't agree with my definition of justice. Fair enough. Maybe here, maybe he and I don't see eye to eye electric. But here is the thing. Our aim to encourage students to articulate their own opinions, not to coerce them into agreeing with us. So it actually doesn't matter if he and I agree. What matters is that with helping students having those conversations with each other, and that means that adults we need to learn how the how effective facilities out of our student active. We have got to help them learn really cheeky conversation. We have to expose them to different opinions, and we have to help them see how what they're learning in schools connects to world outside. So here's an example of that. Every year my students study the history of the apartheid in South Africa and cases as a case study of injustice. Now for those of you who don't know, apartheid were probably and white ruled government in South Africa imposed arrest to oppress people of color, and if you resisted those laws you risk jail time, violence of death. And around of the world our countries governments, including ours in our states, hesitate to at South Africa because, well, we benefit from its resources. So in 1976, the South Africa government passed a new law which required that all students in South Africa learn in the language Afrikaans, which was a white language, and many black South Africans refer to language as a language of oppressor. So not of surprising, students of color were they only at, they already attended segregated schools with overcrowded classroom, a lack of resources, and flaky curriculum. And now they were being told to the language in a language neither they nor their teacher spoke.